Hello friends and welcome back to Enterprise Architecture. Now, last episode we had set up all of this machinery behind us, which is doing automated blue research construction. So these are all of the ingredients that we need for blue research, in addition to that which we've created in our aluminum factory over next to us here. So that means we have a lot of access to blue research now. I've turned back on our green research and our red research, so now we have plenty of research to start unlocking things. With all of our new research, we're going to focus on deep mob learning. That's going to be one of the main bottlenecks to getting to the next tier of research. And maybe if we have a little research left over, we'll do some quality of life upgrades as well. So let's dive in. So back here on our quest tree, you can see that everything else that we need to do is pretty much locked behind deep mob learning. That's an interesting way to stage out a pack. Usually this is like an extra thing that you put into a mod pack so that you can get resources and grind them from various mobs, but usually you don't use it as part of the core. So this is a fantastic and interesting way to lock the rest of the items behind the pack. Now, primarily, we need to build this simulation chamber, and all of these things are locked over here behind materials. So it's relatively cheap for us to unlock deep mob learning, but then we also need to unlock each of our various models as well, and each of those is relatively expensive. Now, they've kind of given us a hint here that we should start with the witch data model. Now, that's because that's going to give us redstone, and redstone is a big bottleneck for us. The only redstone we can get right now is what we're getting from our automated miners. Again, this is a Factorio-like mod pack, so it's supposed to be very similar in that regard of having miners that we've set up. So that's currently the only way we're getting it, and we're only getting a trickle of redstone. With the witch data model, we should be getting a lot of redstone dust from this pristine matter, so that will be a big help. It looks like we get our glowstone dust from the gas data model, which is something else that we need. We don't have a source of glowstone dust at all right now. Ender pearls, of course, from the Enderman data model. We're going to use that for a variety of items, I believe, coming up pretty soon. Shulkers, which gives us diamonds, which is a fantastic upgrade for us. Again, we're only mining that out of the ground right now. We might want to move this one up our priority list because we use diamonds for the polymer clay that this mod pack uses. This mod specifically uses, I should say, the deep mob learning mod. We can also get these various other elemental bits from the blizzes and blazes and all of that stuff. So this gives us pyrotheum and cryothium, which we use for a variety of different recipes in here, including for the next tier of miners. And then, of course, there's a variety of other things in here. So it looks like we can use wither skeleton heads to get nether stars, which I don't know what we use nether stars in this pack for, but this is really where we're going to focus. So I think we're going to start with the witch data model and also the shulker data model, as well as maybe we do the ghast and the enderman. So this is what we're going to start on right now. Okay, so I went and grabbed a bunch of our research, so I think we have enough to start submitting some of these. I might have to go back for more. So there's our deep mob learning unlocked. Let's go ahead and do the witch model as well. Let's go ahead and also unlock our, no, not the enderman, not yet. Let's do shulkers. Like so. And I kind of want to do these as well for our thermal model. Let's just start with this and try to get this piece set up and see how far we can get with it. So just a side note here, our boiler keeps disconnecting. So this is a problem with the Better Boilers mod where items continuously disconnect from the boiler itself. So I'm going to go ahead and try an item allocator instead to see if that solves our problem here. We should be inserting from the right side. So if I turn all of these off, I should be getting them in here. And now we want to export from the left side. And there we go, our coal is going back in here. So I think this will stay connected where the item conduits from Ender.io were not staying connected. So we're just going to try that because it should just automatically pick up that there's an inventory here, even if this is being reprocessed, recalculated, whatever the engine is doing underneath there to no longer know that it's a multi-block and then suddenly determining it's a multi-block again. So I'm hoping this is going to fix that problem because we keep running out of power right now in our whole system whenever this accidentally disconnects. So we're going to give this a shot. Okay, so in front of our main resource processing facility here, out where our old drill used to be, I think that's fitting, we are going to build our deep mob learning facility here. And this is going to be a long, skinny building, I think, for now. I don't think we're going to need a lot of width to it, but we do want to make sure that we can continue to grow in this direction if we need, or we can go a little further out here. We're just going to have to reroute some of our cables a little bit to get there. So the first thing that we're going to need to build here is our deep mob learning simulation chamber. This just really needs aluminum and modularium and a sooty casing. Sooty casings are made with aluminum sheet metal, steel ingots, and a block of coal. So we're going to have to make some aluminum plates first of all here. And I think we have some modularium left. Do we have some? Yeah, we have some modularium left. So let's make those aluminum plates, and we'll also make the block of coal. For that, we're going to need to jump all the way back over to our original base, because this is where our plate press is made. And this is where I was talking about we need to do some quality of life upgrades as well, because right now, this being the only way that we can make plates is kind of not great. If we have time later, maybe not this episode, maybe it'll be next episode, we will do some of our processing upgrades to get the compactor, I think. This is what we really need to get, but we're going to hold off on that. So, aluminum plates are coming in, so that should be good. We have our modularium, and let's just grab up a stack of coal so that we can make that sooty casing. And you know what? We're going to go ahead and make 2 of everything today, because I know that we're going to make both of those models that we had talked about at a bare minimum. So there's that. Our simulation chamber for the sooty casing. So let's make that aluminum sheet metal. We're going to need 2 of those. How are we looking here? We just need that sooty casing, block of coal. I already have those. So 2 sooty casings, perfect. And then our simulation chamber we can just make. So there's that. Okay. Another task unlocked here. We do need a blank data model. For that we need to make some polymer clay. And that is an alloy. So we're going to need clay and diamond. And that is a block of clay. Now I had gotten a whole bunch of clay earlier. Oh, right. A block is only 4. It's been so long since I've done this. Okay. So there's a block of clay. Grab 2 of those, and we're going to grab 2 diamonds. And let's put those into our alloy furnace, which we had set up previously. There we go. Okay, there is our polymer clay finished from our alloy kiln. And now we use that to make a blank data model. Should I make 2 of these? Yeah, I want to make 2 of these. Okay. And now we use that in a crafting bench to make our various data models. Now, Shulker and Witch should be unlocked. But these others, I think, are going to be locked, and we won't be able to make them, I would guess. Yeah, because of these stage locks. So Witch is in the upper left corner, and Shulker is just below that. So let's try and make those real fast. So Witch, there we go, Witch, that Witch, and Shulker. Okay, so we've got those. So let's get back to our other location. And we should be able to set these up. Now, I do need to figure out how we're gonna set these up. I think placing them on the wall might make sense, but we do want to be able to run our power lines. So let's say we're going to put them up on the wall, or at least a theoretical wall that we're going to build here at some point in the near future, as soon as I get my act together to build more wood planks. And let's just come away from the wall 2 blocks there and 2 blocks away from that, like that. I think that'll be a good place for them. And our power we're going to bring in below here, because we're also going to have our various pipes at this level as well, because these are going to route down and out, I think. At least that's my intent here. So let's put power there, and let's put power here. Great. So I think now all this is waiting for is a data model. Missing polymer medium. And this is also missing a polymer medium. So I guess I have to insert polymer clay into that as well. Let's go ahead and grab the rest of our polymer clay up. And I don't really know how we insert into these. Let's assume that we're going to have some sort of a container that's going to be inserting those. So to build that, let's build a basic drawer to hold that. Again, storage drawers are just a wonderful tool because we can filter them. And let's assume it's going to be at the end of this row here that we're going to be running. So let's grab our item pipes. Again, I'm assuming item pipes can work here. Yeah, it seems to be connecting just fine. Grab our wrench back. Where did our wrench go? Did I just move that again? Okay, so let's remove that one. We're just going to put this to right here on the end and put our basic drawer on that. Turn it around so we can see it. Polymer clay goes in, and let's lock that real quick as well. Perfect. So this is going to extract, and we're going to want to round robin on it. So let's finish running our conduits down this way. Let's keep green. I think green is great for this polymer clay because it's basically green. Round robin, self-feed, always active. Now, in theory, we can tell this to insert on green. And tell this to insert on green. Cannot begin simulation, missing polymer medium. Okay, so we're gonna have to figure out how to get this polymer clay in there. Don't know why this isn't working. I'm gonna have to look up the instructions to figure out how to get polymer clay into these simulation chambers. Okay, I just need to insert on the top. Apparently it does care about what side you're putting the polymer clay into, so the top is where this has to go. So let's put one in here as well. And we got some overworldian matter, but we're going to need a whole lot more polymer clay. So let's go make a whole bunch more of that. Let's see here. And yeah, we've got 257. So let's take a stack of diamonds, and clay might be another matter altogether. Is there a better way to get clay? Slag. We can pulverize terracotta. A bottling machine. We have some dirt. Or a fluid infuser with dirt. Do we have a fluid infuser? Can we make a fluid infuser? No, we can't make a fluid infuser yet. Okay, so that's going to have to wait, I think. But we do have a bunch of slag. And I think that's the other way to make this, right? Slag and dirt. Okay, so let's grab up a bunch of that. So two stacks of slag, a stack of dirt, and we're going to need fluid of some sort. So let's grab our reservoir up. There we go. And we can go get some water and we can make a bunch of clay. Okay, so clay, when we're doing it this recipe, just like this, right? Put this here, put this here, put our stack of dirt here and our reservoir. Yeah, that seems to work just okay. Okay, so now we have 4 stacks of regular clay. We can use that to make a single stack of clay blocks. Well, yeah, I guess we're just going to have to do 64 for now. We're really, really short on clay at this point. We're going to have to unlock some other recipes to get clay. Oh, you know what? We can make a fluid transposer pretty easily, though. We have most everything that we need for that. Let's see here. Fluid transposer. No fluid allocator. That's the one we want. What are we missing here? A machine frame. Done. And a bucket. Also done. Okay, so fluid transposer. Let's go ahead and make another one of those. I know I already have one laying around, but I think this will work great. Okay, let's make ourselves an aqueous accumulator as well. Aqueous. There we go. We're missing a whole bunch of stuff for that. Let's make ourselves some iron gears. Great. Fluid pump. For that, we need some fluid pipes. Great. Okay, and again, another bucket. Sure do love their buckets. Perfect. There's an aqueous accumulator. So between the two of these, we should be able to automate the production of clay. And I think I'll do that. I guess I can do that over here again, right? There's no reason not to do it in this general vicinity. Although I really wish there was an automated dirt recipe from cobblestone or something, but it doesn't look like there's any other way to make dirt except for from slag and biomass, which we don't have infinite supplies of. So instead, we're just going to use our power line off here. And I think what we're going to want to do is put the fluid transposer on the bottom, like so. Let's go ahead and put our aqueous accumulator on the back. We're going to tell this to output on the right. And this is going to input from the back. We want our fluid going in there. So that's the blue pipe. Yeah, it's the blue pipe. Let's turn off all these until I figure out what I'm going to do with it. We want to import our items from the top. I think that's also blue, right? Yeah. And then we just need some sort of a storage container for our dirt. And y'all know exactly what we're going to use for that. Yes, you guessed it, a storage chest. Whoops, just threw my capacitors across the room. That's not what I want. Or the, what are these? Solenoids. All right. So we give it that. And then we're going to put dirt in this, and we should get our clay out. And our clay doesn't have a place in our system right now, so we are going to need probably another one of these to put our clay in. So let's go ahead and make another chest and another basic drawer. Once we make some more wood. There we go. Let me stick that down there. I'm going to lock it and lock it. This is going to output on the right, and we're going to input on the top. And yeah, that should be all the correct recipe we need there. So let's grab up a bunch of clay. Whoops. There we go. A bunch of dirt, I should say. Put all of this into this thing. And auto input. There, it's getting its dirt. And now what we have to do is just run some power lines to this. Let's grab our LV energy conduits. And just, whoops, I did a very terrible job of putting this together because now everything is in the wrong place. All right, give me back up the aqueous accumulator. We'll put that down there. We're going to tell this to insert from there instead. Yeah, that'll work. Only this needs to be turned around now. There we go, and just output from the right instead. Okay. Water goes in, and now we just run our power lines. And that should do the thing. That should do the thing. All right, there we go. We have a pretty okay source of clay now. Although it's not auto-outputting. Oh, because we haven't told it it can auto-output into here. So if we put that in there, that should turn to 16. Yeah, that turned to 17, actually. I don't know why, but it did. We're okay with that. Cool. So now we have a source of clay. We're going to let that do its thing for a little while. And while it's doing that, we're going to grab up the polymer clay that we have already made, which should be dropped in here. It looks like a second amount. Yeah, we're... Oh, each of these makes 4. That's why. Okay. So we're going to let that do its thing and come back over here and insert the rest of our polymer clay into our system. And there we go. This is going to be making various items. And I think this is the output. We've got extraterrestrial matter and we have overworld matter. Okay. Now, to store this, I wonder how we are going to store this. Yes, you guessed it. We are going to store them in basic drawers. So let's make up a few more of those. You know what? We really need to make a whole lot more than what we've got, but we keep running out of wood. Yeah, wood automation is such a priority for me at this point. I can't even tell you. Can we do that yet? Can we automate wood yet? There's two ways to get wood here. So the phytogenic insulator is going to be one, but I prefer the garden cloche. I think it's a lot simpler. Can we make this yet? Reinforced storage crate, glass, lumium. Do we have lumium? Can I make lumium? Tin, glowstone. Yeah. So we need glowstone first before we're going to be able to make this. So we're going to hold off on that. But as soon as we can make lumium, that's it. We're going to solve our wood problems ASAP. Okay. So this is all going in, but we want to store coming out here. So these don't actually need to connect, as it turns out. We can separate these two, and they can share power. We're going to put this in here and put this in there. And we're going to tell this to insert on green, and we're going to tell this to insert on green. And we're going to tell this to extract. There we go. Perfect. And that's getting our overworldian matter. And then we're going to do exactly the same thing here. We want this to extract. And there's our extraterrestrial matter. Ah, there we go. Pristine witch matter. That's what we're after. And pristine shulker matter. Also what we're looking for. So let's go ahead and put down a couple of more containers. Like so. That is giving us this stuff. Let's lock those as well. And we're going to go ahead and put our item conduits here. And this should self-sort with no trouble now. Okay, this will be fine. This will be fine. So how do we use this? Pristine shulker matter in a loot fabricator. Okay, so the loot fabricator is the next thing we need to make. Okay, so to make a loot fabricator, all we need is another of our sooty casings. That we need another bit of aluminum sheet metal and another block of coal. Okay, so there's our sooty casing done. And then with that, we can quickly make our loot fabricator. Perfect. So our loot fabricator is just going to pull from whatever simulation chambers we give it to create additional loot. I mean, that seems straightforward enough, right? So I think what we need to do here is actually, let's break this down. And I think it needs to go into the top again. I'm guessing that this is going to be exactly the same layout as these, that you input on the top and you export from the bottom. That is my guess. So to that end, we need to build back up again. I'm wondering if this whole setup doesn't need to be completely reconfigured. Our pristine witch matter, is that what it is? Whatever this pristine witch matter? Yeah. We're going to extract that on red. Round robin, self-feed, always active. Okay, so this is now pulling out on the red channel. If I tie this back into our main line, kind of up and over like this, which is a total mess, but it works okay. So we can then run our cables to the other side here and into our loot fabricator. And then we just tell this to insert on red. And it's going to get our pristine witch matter. Great. And actually, you know what? I do want to move this like up one notch just to make it a little easier. Like that. And pristine witch matter. Now this also needs power. So let's grab our redstone cables. No, the LV energy cables, not redstone cables. Oh, you know what? I'm not even going to do LV. I'm just going to go straight up the tier to our white cables, the MV. And we're going to run this the same way. Again, best thing about Ender IO cables, hands down, is the fact that they stack in the same slot. Like so. Okay, that should be what it needs to do loot fabrication. Yep, and look at it go. That can then go down into a basic drawer. The basic drawer can then have an item conduit, and this one we also will extract on red. And it should pull out if we, and tell it to insert on red, of course. There, we just have to select it. There we go. And it's pulling it out. Okay, great. That does exactly what it should do. I just have to select a recipe. Okay, so now we have a source of redstone. The redstone we can now pull back out and actually feed into our main belt line if we want. Maybe that's the way to do this. I'm tempted to replace all of this with item conduits, honestly, just because it's a mess. But I do kind of like the old school look of it. Well, this is inconvenient. We already have learned the follies of trying to use conveyor belts and how it just doesn't work for us. So I think it's time that we finally tear up our last bit of conveyor belts here and replace them with item conduits and pretend like we're grown-ups about it. So I'm just going to do that real quick. Okay, and there we have our redstone now being pulled out through the system. We actually have conduit facades here to hide the pipes. And then our pipes are also coming out from our miner over there that's still going strong and all the way back into our storage system in here. So that should all be working correctly. Hopefully that's all working correctly. But we continue to run out of polymer clay. That is a problem. Okay, and here we have our shulker. I've also set this up. So we're going to make this. Ooh, it's going to make a whole bunch of stuff. Start with diamond as our primary recipe. Yeah, that's what we want to do. We're going to start with diamond here. And, oh, it looks like I used the wrong cable. Let me go ahead and click this. There we go. You can just click on LV energy conduits with the MV energy conduits to upgrade them. I really like that. That's a similar thing that Mechanism does, where you can click on with the, whatever those red components are at the base level, you can click that onto your cables and Mechanism as well to upgrade things, or onto machines with the upgrades. So that makes it really nice and easy to replace these. Now that's going to go into our basic drawer here for our diamonds. And then those we're just going to cut through here and pull out as well. And we're going to need one more conduit facade for this. Just do one more like that with bricks. Okay. So dig ourselves a little tunnel. Put our item conduits down. Like so. And then we just are going to tell this again that it needs to extract on green, and it should always be on. Perfect. So that should be a good place to store all of our diamonds. Okay, so we've got redstone and we've got diamonds now automated. We've completed deep mod learning. We've completed loop fabricator. We've done data models here. We know a little bit about that. We have a witch data model already. And you know what? I think we just have to take these back out of those machines to get credit for them, even though we already made them. Yeah, there's shulker, and just temporarily, yeah, there's witch. And we need a lot more witch, so let's go ahead and put that in there. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to get credit for the witch data model. We get nothing. Shulker, we get nothing. Oh, and this is how we get emeralds. Yeah, we still don't have automated clay. Let's take a look at that. Clay. Because they had said the bottling machine is how we should do it, but I think the bottling machine is less great because we still don't have a source of dirt. Let's see here. Is there another element that I am missing? Oh, that's the trick. Sand. We can automate sand. Sand is the easiest thing in the world to automate because we've already done that 2 or 3 times. So all we need to do is take a cobblestone generator and put it down. Here, let me show you exactly what I'm talking about, because we already have that set up. So all of this that I set up on this side, I missed the entire point. This is what we should be doing here. this is producing sand right here. Sorry, right here. This gravel is being crushed into sand, and we're using that to make glass. But there's absolutely no reason that I can't repurpose this and instead use it to make sand that goes into here instead. That's what we're going to do. That's exactly what we're going to do, because this is going to be the easiest thing to set up with no additional work. So I'm just going to build ourselves a little tiny annex right here next to this main factory just for this clay production setup, because I think it'll be relatively straightforward. And I'm honestly kind of not really enthusiastic about building a whole new separate factory space for this. There's our first sand coming out. There's our first clay coming out. So slowly but surely, this is an infinite source of clay for us. Combined with our infinite source of diamonds that we now have, we should be able to make all of the polymer clay that we need in some sort of this facility here. We can actually continue to make it in here if we want. So to that end, we are going to need an alloy furnace in here. Let's see if we can make one of those real quick. What are we missing for that? Oh, just the plating, right? Right, just the plating. And we should have everything else to make our alloy furnace. There we go. Now, we can route this through item cables and connect up with these item conduits somewhere back here. Let's say right about here. And this will go into the alloy furnace off of that. Is that the right way to do that? I think that's the right way to do that. So item conduits are going to go here to here, not there, there. And so we extract and insert on green. And these we're going to want to do differently. We want to insert in the back, and this we're going to insert on blue. We'll just hook up the wires here, recable this the way that we had before, and the polymer clay coming out of that will now go into our polymer clay storage on the other side of the wall here where all of our loot fabrication is happening. So this should just kind of work seamlessly for us. So the next thing for us to do is then unlock our gas data model and set this up to match exactly the setup that we've done already here. Only this time we are going to be producing glowstone dust, and that glowstone dust we are then going to use to make our lumium. So we're just going to do that setup real quick here. And there we go, exactly the same setup as before. We're getting our pristine gassed matter and putting it into our loot fabricator here, and that is giving us our glowstone dust back out the other side. So with our glowstone dust in hand, we can now make lumium. Lumium is made almost the same as fluxed electrum, only we use a tin gold blend, and we use melted glowstone from our magma crucible instead, and that goes into our fluid transposer, and that's how we get lumium back out. Now, I think we're going to use this lumium and make a couple of ingots of it so that we can get tree production up and online. One of our big bottlenecks right now is wood, and I would love to have automated wood. So that means we're going to need either our garden cloche or the phytogenic insulator, one of those two things. So let's make up a batch of this tin and gold blend, and then we are going to run it through our fluid transposer with some melted down glowstone in it and make ourselves a bit of lumium. Okay, with our tin gold alloy in hand, we can now put it into our fluid transposer and get some lumium back out. So that is wonderful. We can then use that to make a lumium gear, which we've gone ahead and done here, and make ourselves a garden cloche. Now for that, we are going to need a storage crate first, which I don't remember quite how to make here. How do we do this? Oh, wooden storage crate, and that's just treated planks. Okay, easy enough. So we take that, and then we're going to use that to make the reinforced version of it with just a bit of iron. And now we have 2 garden cloches. Perfect. Now I think we're going to set these up over here next to our pulverizer, and we're going to get credit for that task. And it looks like to get the credit for the other task, we have to build the phytogenic insulators upgrade, but we're not going to do that right now. We're going to skip this. Instead, we're just going to set up our 2 cloches right here. And we just need to run power to those. We're just going to do that from the top off the same line as our pulverizers are getting. If we can jump up there and get it, there we go. And now this just needs water. So we're going to put down an aqueous accumulator and put a couple of fluid conduits along the bottom. We just tell the aqueous accumulator output on the right side. And yes, these are already filling up with water. Perfect. Now, if we put dirt in each of these, all we need to do is add in our saplings. So we'll do regular oak in the first one, and we'll do dark oak in the second one, just like that. And you can see they're already starting to grow. Now these auto output on the front, so all we have to do is put on a couple of boxes, a couple of storage drawers, and we're just gonna start getting wood out of this right away. So in between episodes, we'll go ahead and tie that back into our main line, and now we have an infinite source of wood. So the reason that I prefer the garden cloche to the phytogenic insulator is that the garden cloche is able to keep saplings in it when you're growing plants, or any plant for that matter, whereas the phytogenic insulator will pop the plant out and you have to put it back in. So it just kind of saves a step and it makes it really easy. You can also add additional growing things like phytogrow or whatever you want there to make it grow faster, but even at its default speed, it grows things real super quick. So this is my preferred way to go about solving that problem. However, the quest line here actually requires you to create a sapling infuser here before it will be satisfied. So we're going to go ahead and create one of those real quick just to make it happy. Okay, so we've made a couple of aluminum gears, and there we go. We get our augment, and that completes the quest. Even though we technically had already completed the quest, we'll just hold on to that thing for later. And now this is done. Of course, that's a dead-end quest, but whatever. And with that, we've come to the end of yet another episode of Enterprise Architecture. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you back here next time. Bye, friends!